Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. We got some pretty big news for Bitcoin. Our buddy Vladimir Putin, has kind of like reversed something he actually said last year when he said Putin says Bitcoin is too unstable to be used for oil contracts. This is from October last year. Now he's actually open to selling natural gas and probably oil for Bitcoin as he gets more desperate because he's been closed off. Yep, closed off from the US dollar and probably getting closed off from the euro. So now the mighty state of Russia is open to accepting Bitcoin for its natural resource exports. The chairman of the country's Congressional Energy Committee, Pavel Zavalny, said in a press conference on Thursday. Zavalny explained that Russia is open to accepting different currencies for its exports, beginning with natural gas, depending on the buyer's preferred method of payment. However, the chairman said terms will depend on importing countries' foreign relations status with Russia. So the more friendly you are with Russia, the more options you have. So basically, with friendly countries like China or Turkey, because Turkey has not actually sanctioned Russia, and China is like a friendly country, obviously, they actually have the option to pay with like their national currency or rubles. And there can be a variety of currencies. And that's standard practice for friendly currencies. So obviously, he wants to pressure other countries to be friendly with him. The US probably is not going to play ball because the US doesn't really need Russia gas or oil. However, countries like Germany might actually be in a little bit of trouble. Obviously, one of the purposes of this is to actually get to other countries to buy rubles so they can actually float up their national currency, which has been drastically destroyed since Putin started the war with Ukraine. For unfriendly countries, they either have to pay for with hard gold or Russian rubles because they want countries to buy rubles to support their national currency. But also, he's opening up selling natural gas for Bitcoin because I think he is actually getting kind of desperate. And the thing is, I think Putin knows that Bitcoin is probably going to go up in the long run, so he probably sees it as more of an investment. So the state's Duma Energy Committee echoed Putin's decision while adding that the country should also accept gold. So essentially, like their first choice would be rubles because that forces other countries to actually buy their currency, which uplifts the value of their currency. But they're also going to accept gold, which is going to be a much harder sell to other countries, or they can accept Bitcoin. Now, I don't think this isn't really using Bitcoin to get around sanctions because this is essentially demanding other like governments to actually pay them with Bitcoin as an option. So the other governments obviously aren't going to go around sanctions, but maybe if they don't want to buy rubles, they could possibly pay in BTC. Now, I'm not really sure if this option is only going to be open to friendly countries because that would be kind of useless because China doesn't really, like China kind of like kicked all the Bitcoin miners out. Maybe Turkey, but I can see it from like being unfriendly countries that they could use Bitcoin because Europe has a lot of Bitcoin. The US has a lot of Bitcoin because of both miners, pools, and things like that. So it's a very, very interesting proposal. And they want hard money, but they could also use Bitcoin for natural gas. I think that is a big, big step for Bitcoin as Russia actually, like as other countries might actually choose to pay in Bitcoin because instead of rubles, if it comes down to that. Because if you're paying in Bitcoin, you're not actually floating up the Russian national currency, which actually would be bad for the Western allies in a time where they're trying to sanction Russia. And Bitcoin, even though there's some fear that it could be used to get around sanctions, it is actually an option which doesn't float up their national currency, so it might be a more attractive option than buying rubles. Now, Russia has unilateral agreements to accept euros or USD for their oil, but and there's like disagreements of whether they can actually break that or not until the contract runs out. But like with the war going on, the Western allies pressuring Russia, I don't really think Vladimir Putin is going to care too much about the agreements of those treaties because in his eyes, we probably broke the agreements of those treaties when we actually imposed all these sanctions on Russia. So really interesting news. Basically, Russia can trade with friendly countries in national currencies or Bitcoin, the chairman of the State Duma Committee on Energy said. So Very cool. That very cool for Bitcoin. Not cool for Ukraine or the rest of the world. That they're actually trying to accept maybe Bitcoin for natural gas and oil. And it could be a big boost to the Bitcoin market if China, Turkey, India, etc. decide to pay in Bitcoin. And it could actually help lift some of the restrictions in those countries for Bitcoin as well. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. And I will see you guys next time.